Hey, science adventurers. Have you ever looked at the ocean and wondered what secrets are hiding in the deep, dark blue? And have you ever seen a submarine and thought, whoa, how does that giant metal pickle even float? I mean, seriously, these things are colossal. A nuclear submarine can weigh more than 100 school buses packed with elephants. Okay, maybe not elephants, but you get it. They're incredibly heavy. So how does this heavyweight champion of the sea gracefully slip beneath the waves, disappearing like a ghost? And then, even more magically, how does it pop back up again, saying, "Hello, sunshine," to the world? It seems like something straight out of a superhero movie, doesn't it? Like it has secret anti-gravity powers or a button that just says "go down," but it's not magic or sci-fi. It's science. And trust me, the real story is way cooler and you're about to become an expert. All right, before we reveal the secret, let's bust some myths. Get your myth-busting goggles on. Myth number 1. Submarines sink just by turning off their engines. Nope. If they did that, they'd just be a very expensive, very large floating log. They'd just bob around, going nowhere. Myth number 2. They use giant fans to push themselves down. Ha! Can you imagine? That would be like trying to dry the whole ocean with a hairdryer. It's just not gonna work. The real trick is much, much smarter. The real secret, the magic word of the sea, is controlling buoyancy. Say it with me. Buoyancy. It's all about being the master of floating. To understand this, let's think small. Picture your favorite rubber ducky in the bathtub. It floats, right? That's because it's light and hollow. It's pushing away, or a little bit of water. The water pushes back up with a force exactly equal to the weight of the water it moved. This upward push is the buoyant force. As long as the ducky is lighter than the upward push from the water, it floats. But if your ducky were suddenly made of solid gold, it would be way heavier than the water's upward push, and down it goes. It's all about how heavy you are for your size. That's called density. A submarine on the surface is just like that rubber ducky. It's a huge, hollow steel shell. Its total weight is balanced by the buoyant force of the water it's pushing aside. So it floats. But what if it could change its weight on command? Well, it can. Meet the submarine's first superpower, ballast tanks. These are giant tanks built into the submarine that can be filled with either air or water. Think of it like an empty plastic bottle with the cap on. It floats because it's full of air and super light. The ballast tanks filled with air make the submarine floaty too. But if you take the cap off and let that bottle fill with water, it gets heavy and sinks. The submarine's ballast tanks do exactly the same thing to change the sub's overall density. So when it's time to dive, the crew shouts, "Dive, dive, dive," and a submariner opens huge vents at the top of the ballast tanks. This lets the air out. At the same time, ports at the bottom of the tanks are opened, and seawater rushes in to take the air's place. With thousands of gallons of water pouring in, the submarine gets heavier and heavier. Its overall density becomes greater than the water around it, and down it goes. But it's not a chaotic plunge. It's a smooth, controlled descent. They become negatively buoyant, which is the scientific way of saying ready to sink gracefully. But just getting heavy isn't enough to steer. That brings us to submarine superpower number 2, underwater flight. See these little wings on the side? They're called hydroplanes or dive planes. Hydro means water, so they're literally water planes. Just like the wings on an airplane control its tilt, these planes use the flow of water to angle the submarine's nose up or down. This gives the crew precise control over their depth and angle of descent. It's just like when you stick your hand out of a moving car window. If you tilt your hand up, the air pushes it up. Tilt it down, the air pushes it down. Water is way thicker than air, so these small planes have a huge effect. But here's the catch. They only work when the submarine is moving forward. No momentum, no steering. Okay, imagination break. What if your school was a submarine? Your school bus would transform, and instead of waiting in traffic, you'd just dive and cruise under the cars. For gym class, you'd race dolphins. And for lunch, the cafeteria could serve pizza, delivered by a friendly octopus. What would be the coolest part about having a submarine school? Tell me in the comments. Back to the deep. As the sub goes down, it faces a new enemy. Pressure. The deeper you go, the more water is on top of you, and all that water is heavy. It pushes on the sub from all sides. At the deepest depths, the pressure is like having thousands of elephants standing on every part of the hull. So how does it not get squished like a soda can? Time for submarine superpower number 3, super strength. Submarines have an incredibly strong inner body called a pressure hull, It's made of super tough steel, and most importantly, it's round. A circular or cylindrical shape is one of the strongest shapes in nature. It's like trying to crush an egg in your hand. If you squeeze it evenly, it's surprisingly strong because the round shape spreads the force out. The submarine's hull does the same thing, spreading out the crushing pressure of the ocean so no single spot gets squished. So while the ocean is having a heavyweight wrestling match outside, the crew inside is safe and sound, with normal air pressure just like we have on land. They're in a super strong bubble protected from the deep. You know who else are experts at this? Animals. Fish don't have giant metal tanks, but they have something called a swim bladder. It's a little balloon-like sac inside them that they can fill with gas to go up, or release gas from to go down. It's their own natural ballast tank. Whales are masters too, using their powerful lungs and body density to dive deep for food. We learned from the best. Okay, so the mission is over, and it's time to return to the surface. How do they get all that heavy water out of the ballast tanks? They use another superpower, highly compressed air. Stored in special flasks, this air is under huge pressure. When the crew is ready to surface, they open the valves, and this powerful air blasts into the ballast tanks, forcing the water out through the ports at the bottom. It's like blowing the world's biggest and loudest bubble. As the water is replaced by air, the submarine becomes much lighter and less dense. The upward buoyant force becomes stronger than the sub's weight again, and it starts to float up. And then, whoosh! It breaks through the surface like a magnificent steel whale, water pouring off its back. Mission accomplished. So let's do a lightning recap. To dive, a sub uses ballast tanks to take on water, making it heavier. It uses dive planes, its underwater wings, to steer its descent. To survive the deep, it relies on its super strong rounded pressure hull. And to surface, it blasts the water out with compressed air, making it light enough to float. It's an amazing dance of physics and engineering. Imagine being inside, watching the world turn from bright blue to deep dark navy as you glide silently into another world. Now that you're a submarine expert, I have a question for you. If you could take a submarine anywhere in the world, where would you go? Would you explore a spooky shipwreck, searching for pirate treasure? Or maybe dive into the Mariana Trench to find bizarre new creatures? If you learned something awesome today and your brain feels a little bit bigger, do us a favor and bonk that like button. And share this with a friend who you'd want as your co-pilot on an underwater adventure. And don't forget to subscribe to join our official science adventure crew for more amazing journeys. So, one last question for the crew. After learning all this, would you want to be a submariner living under the sea? Let us know your answer in the comments below.